our WhatsApp group and Telegram. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace, blessing, and mercy of Allah be upon all of you, my dear sisters. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May peace and mercy and blessing of Allah be upon our Prophet Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay, let's begin our session for today. Today we are going to recite the new part of Quran. Inshallah, we are going to recite Surah Al-Nasr. Very well. As usual, my dear sisters, you are going to repeat after me. I'm going to give you an enough time after each part. You will repeat. Of course, all the microphones are muted, but you are going to repeat with a loud voice so you can hear yourself. Okay? And then I'm going to analyze the ayat from Tajweed point of view. Fine? Let's begin. And kindly pay attention to the movement of my mouth, okay? Of my lips. Before I begin, with fatha, with alif, natural mad alif, the tongue is relaxed and opening the mouth vertically, not horizontally. Smiling position, no. During our recitation in Quran, maximum width, it is the width of your lips when you are silent. With dhamma, with waw, mad, natural mad waw or dhamma, the back of the tongue will be raised and the lips will be rounded. Ow, and I leave a space in between the lips to allow the sound to run through. Otherwise, it will go through the nose. And by this way, you will add ghunna to the dhamma and waw. And when I pronounce kasra or ya, the lower jaw will be lowered and the middle part of the tongue will be higher. Ay, kasra, and ya. If I don't make this, also the sound part of the sound will escape through the nasal cavity and you will have ghunna with kasra and ya. This is before I begin. So kindly notice the movement of my mouth. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Let's begin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Repeat, please. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I'm going to shadow the part which I'm going to recite, okay? This is the part I'm going to recite now. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا. فسبح بحمد ربك. واستغفره إنه كان توابا. We are going to continue to the next surah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. And this word also. سيصلى نارا ذات لهب. This part over, I'm going to recite now, starting from here. وامرأته حمالة الحطب. في جيدها حبل من مسد. Very well. Now, as we know that I'm going to analyze the parts, the two surah, which we did recite from Tajweed point of view. So kindly pay attention. It's very important. Either there is no problem regarding this word, just pronounce, sorry, pronounce the Hamza with Kasra properly and the Dal with Fatha properly. The the lower jaw will be lowered. The the إذا no. إذا جاء here, my dears, I do have something called the mandatory connected mad or mad واجب متصل. The mandatory connected mad, which is when I have the natural mad and the hamza following the natural mad in the same word. In this case, I'm going to prolongate the natural mad for 4 or 6 or 6. So it could be 4 or 6. It's fine. If you want, I'm going to use a pen. I need a pen. You can prolongate it for 4. It's fine, my dears. If for 6 also, it's fine. But you have to prolongate it more than the time of the natural mad. That's why it's called mandatory. Famous in our way, we recite Hafs from Asim, the root of الشاطبية. We prolongate it for 4 counts. إذا جاء vertical opening, and the tongue must be completely relaxed or drag it down a little bit. جاء Okay. Nas Sod, letter Sod with sukoon. So we are going to apply all the characteristics or sifat of the Sod, mainly Rakhawa, or that this sound is a loose sound. The sound is running when I'm pronouncing Sod. As. And of course, it's a heavy sound or full mouth letter. And regarding the air, of there's a lot of air, so it's a voiceless. So with Sod, my dear sisters, both sound and air are running when I'm pronouncing. So nas through, nas through, nas through. Give the Sod its time, which is a loose letter or rakhawa. Nasrullahi. The lamb of love of Allah is going to be a heavy letter here. The lamb of the love Jalala, the lamb of Allah, the Almighty. Sometimes it could be heavy letter. Sometimes it's a light letter. It's according to the haraka or the short vowel which proceed the word of Allah. Here I have Dhamma proceeding or come before the word of Allah Almighty. So the lamb of Allah will be a full mouth. If the lamb of Allah is preceded by Dhamma or Fatha, it's going to be a full mouth, letter or a heavy letter. Allah, Allah. The opposite if it's preceded by Kasra, like here. Bismillah, Bismillah. Here, the lamb is an empty mouth letter because it's preceded by kasra. Okay, I will repeat this again. If Allah, the name of Allah, the Almighty, is preceded by Dhamma, like here, or Fatha, the lam would be full mouth letter. Allah. If it's preceded by Kasra, it's going to be an empty mouth letter. This is what we are going to take, inshallah, in details when we finish the makharij or the articulation point lessons and we begin the characteristics lessons of the sifat. Bismillahi la ilahi nasrullah. Okay. Of course, when I'm continuing recitation, the Hamzatul Wasl of Allah is not going to be pronounced. Of course, you know this. And the first lam is lam shamsiyya, which is not going to pronounce also. So I'm going to move from the ra with dhamma to the lam with shadda and fatha. Nasrullah. Nasru, from the dhamma of the ra to the lam with shadda and fatha. Nasrullah. Pay attention. Wal fath. Of course, the Hamza al-Wasl is not going to be pronounced. I'm going to move from the waw with fatha to the lam with sukoon. Wal. Ta is having sukoon, so I'm going to apply all the characteristics. The most important here, it's the hams, or that this is a voiceless letter. Voiceless letter means that a lot of air is going to pass. At wal fat. Of course, when I'm going to stop here, the ha is going to have sukoon instead of the dhamma, because the Arab never stop at a letter with any short vowel, must have sukoon. And the opposite also, they never begin with a sukoon. So the ha is going to receive sukoon when I'm going to stop. So it's going to be wal fath. If I continue recitation, wal fath huwa ra'ayta, no problem. The ha will have dhamma, and I will continue recitation. There is no problem of two consecutive consonants. Where I to just pay attention here that here the waw, I don't want you to make it as a full mouth letter. This is easy to be full mouth letter in this position because it's followed by ra. Ra with fatha, it's a full mouth letter. So where ra, don't say wa ra wa, no, because wow, it's just an empty mouth letter always. Okay? So do not make it a full mouth letter or a heavy letter because ra with fatha, it's a heavy mouth. So it's easy to make this also as a full mouth. So where the sound is running out of the mouth. Ra, the sound is directed to the roof of the mouth. Where ra. And the rest of the word is just empty mouth letter. ورأيت. Of course, the ya with sukoon preceded by fatha. So this is the ya lean or the eased ya. So I give it its time 2 counts. ورأيت vertically open. ورأيت الناس. Of course, the hamzat al-wasl is not pronounced because I am continuing my recitation. The lam also, the lam shamsiyya, just like Allah. We know the lam shamsiyya from the lam qamariya. Lam shamsiyya is not pronounced. We know it if the letter after it is having shadda and if the lam itself doesn't have any short vowel, as you see. It doesn't have any short vowel. Yes? So this is the sign of lam shamsiyya, which is not going to be pronounced in Quran. Lam shamsiyya or the sunny lam. This is the lam which is not going to be pronounced. So both are not going to be pronounced, okay? So I'm going to move from ta with fatha to the noon with shadda and fatha. وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ. You see? Okay. Noon with the shadda, I'm going to apply ghunna for 2 counts, my dears. Ghunna for 2 counts, okay? 2 counts. 2 counts means 2 fingers released or the opposite. Released, it's the most common. وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ يَدْخُلُونَ. Dal with sukoon. I'm going to apply qalqala. Yad, ad, qalqala. We did take it, yes, with you with qaf. You remember when we explained qalqala and we said the articulation point is going to be closed, totally closed. Any letter has qalqala, it is the same explanation. Articulation point is totally closed. And then I open it with a degree of force. And this opening, this suddenly opening, will cause the sound which was trapped behind the articulation point to be released with a degree of strong also. So I close the articulation point and then I open it with a degree of force which will make the sound which was trapped behind the articulation point to pass through also with a degree of force. This is the qalqala, like the Pepsi cans. When you open it, all the stream which is inside will just go out when you just open the can suddenly. So add yad, yadkhuluna. Look to my mouth. Yadkhuluna. Yadkhuluna. في دين الله. Just apply the proper time for the natural madya. في this is natural madya, 2 counts. في دين الله. Here, my dear, here the lamp of love of Allah, the Almighty, will be an empty mouth, the opposite of here. Let me clear. Here, my dears, we say that the lamp of Allah is going to be full mouth because it's preceded by Dhamma. Here, the opposite. It's preceded by Kasra. So it's going to be an empty mouth letter or light letter. في دين الله, like Bismillah. But here it was Nasrullah. Dinillahi. Of course, you know now the same explanation about the hamzat al-wasl will be dropped and the sunny lam, it will not be pronounced. F. The fa here having sukoon, any letter with sukoon. When I recite, I must clarify the articulation point. 100% is going to be clear. All the characteristics or sifat will be 100% clear. Most important of fa, it's running of sound and running of air. loose letter, running of sound, and voiceless letter. A lot of air. F, 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 أفواجا في دين الله أفواجا. I give it its time, my dear. It's important. Important. أفواجا, here I have تنوين فتحة. تنوين فتحة, when we say, we said before, when I stop, I'm going to compensate the تنوين فتح by a natural mad for 2 counts. We call it mad عوض or compensate mad or compensate mad. أفواجا أفواجا. If I continue recitation, I'm going to have تنوين followed by fa. It's one letter where I'm going to apply إخفاء. أفواجا فا أفواجا فسبح. No problem really. The back was just سبح. The hat with سكون, we explained like here when we stop, loose and voiceless letter. بحمد, meme here, it's in between letter. The meme with sukun is an in between. It's an in between letter. So the time is not loose and not tight. So give it its time. Bihamdi, do not run. Bihamdi, no. When you recite Quran, there is a letter which is loose, and one is in between, and one is tight, one is voiceless, one is voiced, one is full mouth, one is an empty mouth. Those are the 3 main characteristics or sifat which must be 100% clarified during your recitation. No excuse kindly. بحمد ربك را with fatha, it's a full mouth. را ربك واستغفر. This word, it's easy, wallahi, it's not difficult. But I want you just to pay a little bit attention, some attention. Of course, Hamzat al-Wasl is not going to be pronounced, okay? Where here in this word, I'm worried about the full mouth and empty mouth letter, okay? In this word, my dear, if you look, only it's a full mouth. Only. Correct? And the rest are empty mouth, including the ra, because the ra is having sukun but preceded by kasra. So it's going to be empty mouth. So the ghain, it's the only letter which is full mouth. So pay attention. Pay attention. I'm going to pronounce it slow motion. واستغفر I want to add, to pronounce dhamma. واستغفره, or without dhamma. واستغفره. Do not make any other letter full mouth. This is the only one. It will help you, as we explained before, when I recite the Quran, I recite it letter by letter. So I'm going to pronounce the waw with fatha, and then the sin with sukun, with all its characteristics.
الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين.
Okay.
Shanjida,
Kindly listen to my explanation. Do not recite now. Listen to my explanation. It's very important. It's very important. Okay. واستغفر. Okay. The ra here, as we said, it's a full mouth because it's having sukun but proceeds by kasr. إنه, in nun with shadda, غنى for 2 counts. كان توابا. Wow, the wow with shadda, as we said before, if you remember, yeah with shadda and wow with shadda, we are going to apply something called nabr or stress. What's meaning of stress? That I'm going to give a push of the sound when I am pronouncing the waw with shadda. So I'm going to say tawwaba, taw. I'm raising my voice a little bit when I'm pronouncing the waw with shadda. It's called nabr or stress. Taw. I'm not saying tawwaba. No, this is shadda. Why we make this? Just to notify the one who is listening to us that here we have two letters, not only one. Tawwaba, taw. Okay? Fine, I'm not going to analyze this surah because of the time, okay? I'm going to stop recording now, and then you are going to begin your recitation. So, salamu alaikum.